Welcome to another episode of Everybody's Got Something. I'm your host, Seth Hoffman. We've got some great guests. We've got Kevin Kinane. We've got RecycleMan, and we've got Big Daddy. Stay tuned for some good times. As always, we will start off with a song. The song was written when I was 23, which was some years ago. Felt like I was an old man back then. Maybe you can relate. 23 years I have seen pass by, each one faster than the year before. Looking back on what we cannot change, but still I want to try. And what have we learned? What do we think we'll see? Oh, daylight always comes, though I don't know why. Seeing and feeling it all. Still I wonder when it will feel right to do the things that I must do and feel the way I am and see the way I see. Oh, picking and singing on my guitar, still I don't know what's wrong. Follow my heart and do what I feel, doing what I think is right. I try my way against the wind, doing what I must do. I try my way against the wind, facing the night for me. All right, so we're all at our different phases of life on our own adventures. It gives me great joy and an honor to bring in our first guest, the very talented Mr. Kevin Kinane. Welcome to the show. Here he is. Here.
What up?
Welcome, my friend.
Mr.
Great
Hoffman.
to see you. Great to see
All
you.
right.
Well, I have known this guy for a good number of years, more than 20 years.
Definitely.
So tell us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know and would like to learn.
Wow. Well, Seth and I travel the same circles, whether it's in the classroom
That's right.
or whether it's in the music world or whether it's in the music classroom. And so we keep running into each other, and Seth's just one of my favorite guys here. And
Back
now
at
he's
you.
running this little thing. He says, "Would you come on in and do an interview?" And I was like, "Well, I ain't doing too much anymore. I don't do as much in the schools, but you know, I have become a manager now, and I'm managing some children's entertainers
Yes.
and a couple other bands,
Yes.
and I still get out and do my thing too." So
Okay. And
it's,
so you've brought them. We're going to get to meet them.
yeah, they
today.
are. They were making a lot of noise, and I had to go back quiet them down when you were doing your song there because
Yes.
they were a little rowdy.
I know
We
one
got
of
that.
the security took one guy. I think I recognized that he was on the show, but he seemed to.
Right, he had to make sure that he was supposed to be here.
Yeah.
We got RecycleMan, we got Big Daddy.
Yes,
And those two
yes.
guys, I don't like to leave them alone usually too often.
That's kind. It's and wise, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Well, I look forward to who are we going to be meeting first, by the
So
way?
I think we'll bring RecycleMan out first, and RecycleMan he's a cool dude. When he came out here, there was people that were dumping things and illegally dumping, and he started making music out of junk, and became this superhero
Okay.
of Albuquerque.
I know he's well known. Many people, even if they haven't met, they've heard the name and they've become familiar. So should we bring him on?
Let's get him.
All right.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
All right. Well, we'll go get him. Let's go check it out. I am very honored to introduce our second guest of the day, RecycleMan. Welcome to
RecycleMan.
the show. Your manager, Kevin, was telling us a bit about you, but now we
Lies.
get to listen.
Mostly lies.
Listen, I've known Kevin a long time. I trust him but I think I'll trust you too.
Okay.
Let's hear it. Let's hear from you. Tell us how you became RecycleMan, what you do, your passion in this world.
I heard what he said, and it's true. RecycleMan is a percussionist, and started playing percussion before I could walk. So I grew up in the Bronx, and I always heard about the people downstairs because I would always go crawling over and then pull out all the pots and pans. My mom would love to tell this story. And then 40 years later, I was making a living pulling out pots and pans still. So it's kind of gone full circle. And whenever I see something, it's just like when you go to a restaurant and you were like, I could make this at home. I go to the music store and I go, I could make this at home. And so I tried to figure out, like, hey, it's not, percussion instruments especially. They're just like, they could be anything. Like, for instance, let's look at some percussion instruments.
Yeah.
So
let's check out what you got.
Let's just mess around with a little bit of water. So this is going to be your instrument. Take the caps off of those.
All right.
And a very simple instrument is blowing into the little water bottles.
I should drink these.
No, don't drink those.
Oh, don't drink these. Okay.
And I drank that and my beard turned purple.
Okay.
And so we just keep adding some water and then blowing through it and check the tuning. Okay. And the more water, the higher the pitch is going to go, because when you blow into it, it gets to the water and comes back out. So it creates a smaller sound wave. When it goes to the bottom, it creates a bigger sound wave.
Got it, like a big instrument, like a big bass, small violin.
Right. So, and then I have another water instrument, which is the triple tripod mason jar, and I have different mason jars. And the cool thing here is these have different lengths of water in them too. But the neat thing here is when you play it and the water starts to turn towards the head. Hope I didn't pop that mic too much. And what's happening there? So the water starts to touch the head, and then the sound travels slower through water. So as soon as and the more water that touches that head, the lower it's going to go, because the sound wave increases.
So this is like a physics lesson as well.
So we've got a couple ways to create different tones with a couple things that may have gotten thrown out. Do you want to do a little jam?
Yeah, I would love to.
All right, I'm going to stand up.
All right.
Here we go. I'll give you a little beat. Bam!
Wow. Incredible.
There you go. You're like a pro at that.
Never took one lesson.
So that was just a fun thing. I just thought, not bringing in everything. So I have my recycle machine. A lot of people know about the recycle machine, and I'm at like all the city of Albuquerque events. I'm out at a lot of nature events. A lot of Neil from AMP concerts brings me out to places, and I just like to engage people. And I'm still surprised how many people have never seen the recycle machine, because it's been out a lot.
Yes.
And the recycle machine was from things that were dumped out behind my house. I would bring them in, and I'd bring them home, and I'd put them in a bucket, and I started to bring them out to use with kids rather than real instruments, which turned out to be really cool, because I was working in the South Valley. I was working with kids who didn't have money for instruments, so I would try to show them, like, look what we can do with a bucket and a couple of sticks. Look what we can do with, different things.
Sure.
So the recycle machine happened because someone happened to dump a full garment rack when they were moving. I think it was a bad breakup. There was a lot of love letters, a garment rack, all types of stuff. And so the garment rack came home, and I started to attach things with wire from it. And I took stuff from the left and the right, and I made them connect so people would have teamwork going on. And it's all about tone. So I'm a percussionist, and people think rhythm, beat. With me, I always talk about tone. So it's about getting the sound out of something and not worrying about the beat, because kids are smart and people have rhythm. And a lot of times you don't really have to teach the rhythm. You teach the tone and you teach the technique. and the rhythm will come.
Yes.
And that's the way I teach.
Beautiful.
And people are always surprised because sometimes I let it go for a long period without it getting there, wherever they're supposed to be.
Sure.
But we're going to get there. And we'll get there however we get there and however long it takes.
Yes.
And then it's always just like, I can believe it. Like another teacher will be in the room and go, I can't believe you had the patience to let that happen. But I think people are learning a lot more by figuring it out on their own. I never take this out of someone's hand and say, not like that, do it like this. Or go behind someone and move their hands. Drives me crazy.
Yes.
It's like, don't ever do that to a kid. Let the kid do it.
And have you always been a patient person like this?
No!
Or has the... Good answer.
I'm very patient when it comes to doing music and stuff.
But I mean, has this
Sometimes
something
I'm
that
not
you've
that patient.
developed, or like has this brought that out of you more, or has it always been a natural part of you, or has the process of doing this and working with kids developed that in you? Or
I had no idea that I had certain ways to communicate. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was just kind of playing music, and I just thought, I'll introduce this to some kids.
Yeah.
And a couple people saw me, and then I got a contract right away to do an after-school program at every school and book it on my own. And I was like, I don't even really do this, And they were like, no, you're a natural.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. And people thought I was trained with ORF training, which is all about movement
Sure.
and tone and rhythm and movement and getting kids engaged. That's the one thing I do is I get up and move.
Yeah.
Get up and move. Now we're going to go over here. Now we're going to go over there,
Yeah.
and not just sitting around listening and watching me play. So
And I think maybe because you have like a youthful nature and soul to you, which I think kids resonate because kids like to move. Kids like to do this to that. They don't like to just sit in one place and do. So I think that part of you connects with them.
I just did a program with this wonderful organization, the Route 66 Arts Alliance. So I live out in Edgewood, and I started working with them. They're doing summer camps for kids. I'll be doing a summer camp with them in July. You can check out their website. And but one of the kids, at the end of the class, they all want to hug me and do stuff. And one of the kids was like, "You act like younger than us," she said to me. And that was a big compliment because I go in there and I want to have fun.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I would always say was like, and I show up, and sometimes if you're not feeling too well, you're not really on, it's like next time I'm going to knock it out of the park because I can't. It's really hard to. You realize you didn't put the energy in, and you're only going to get back what you put in. And I realized that so much. I realized that when you go into Circle K, the person's only going to be as nice to you as you are nice to them, and that doesn't even work either. But you know what? You just do your best. That person might not be having a good day, maybe not where they want to be. And you just try to bring a little sunshine into any situation that you get
I
into.
like how you said that what you put into something you get back, whether it's putting on a class or interacting with the person at the convenience store. It's we get reflected back what we put out, and that's a good lesson.
Right. And and I learned that I had a neck injury, and sometimes I was in pain, and I didn't realize how angry my face looked when I was in pain. And so I had to become aware of that and be like, okay, so I'm not in pain anymore.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Miracles, let them flow.
And so one of the other things, talking about camps,
Yeah.
one of the cool things was I would teach kids how to play spoons. And I would use metal spoons because that's what you would use for spoons.
Sure.
But they were a little hard on the fingers, and we would bend them and try to do stuff. And then I realized that using plastic spoons, and I'm RecycleMan, so I ain't going to go out and buy no plastic or anything like that. But the coolest idea was, so I worked at these camps with the New Mexico Jazz Workshop, another great organization, and we would be like, save your utensils for RecycleMan. We would put them in different bags, all the other things, and I would either take it to the recycle place if I couldn't use it, or I would clean everything, run it through a dishwasher, and so I did an event where I made 1,200 pairs of spoons.
Like
so
communal,
2,400
with
spoons.
Others helped you.
No, it took me.
You did
I
yourself.
did it for over weeks of a period of weeks.
Whoa.
And then I did a thing at the academy where I had 6th through 12th grade, 1,200 kids, and I organize them in a playing spoons, where they did this, they did this, they did that. And now I bring those spoons out to other places, and I still have been recycling more because I let kids take them home if they want. Yeah. But I really want to show them how to do it. I should show you.
As you're saying this, the suspense is overwhelming, and I'm just really hoping to see and experience this.
It's not rocket science. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, here, I'll take that from you.
Thank you.
Take a couple of spoons.
All right.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to take one spoon, and we're going to take a piece of tape. Here you go.
Okay, thank you.
Now what we're going to do with this tape is we're just going to roll it up like in sticky sides, let them touch.
Sticky side
and we're not going to be neat about this. Outside. It's not a big deal, but if the sticky's outside, it sticks to the spoon and it's a little easier to make it.
So we want sticky side outside.
Sticky side outside.
Okay.
So and then roll it into a ball. Don't roll it up nice or anything, because you want that to be a little flexible.
Got it.
So
okay.
We have this ball right here, and then the other spoon just sits back to back, and then squeeze it with your thumb, and they open up. Now that's too wide, but if we take our second piece of tape,
like this?
Yes. Now he did real good here. So what we're going to do is, here, hold on to this one.
Sure.
We put this just almost at the very bottom, so the spoons can kind of touch, and that wedge is what's causing that. So now what we're going to do is put another piece of tape around it.
All right.
To hold it.
All right.
And we
just
wrap it around. Now, if we wrap it around too high, it's going to close them, but it's okay. They're always fixable. This stuff is just plastic spoons. So we wrapped it up, and they're kind of closed. Well, I'm going to squeeze it a little. I'm going to just push down a little, and boom, now they're open a little.
Okay.
And there we go. Let me see yours. Nice. There we go. All right, so now we're good. So we've got our spoons.
All right.
And now we're going to take our thumb, and we're going to put it right on the tape.
Okay.
Wrap our other finger around. Make sure they're open. Good. All right. So now, little Seth, what I would like you to do is just go ahead and tap your leg with me. Good. Now try tapping that leg instead. Now, because what we're going to do, this is what's going to cause our rhythm and our tones, is our other hand. Now let's go twice as fast. Now we're right in time, twice as fast. But if we go twice as fast again, that's a little bit harder. So let's go back to where we were, twice as fast. Now just keep doing that. Just take your other hand, put it over top. But don't play twice as fast.
Right.
Now take it away.
Wow.
Put it back.
Wow.
And stop. Okay, good. So we got our quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes by bringing our hand in. Wow. So now I'll play something, you copy me. Ready?
Okay, yeah.
Now we're going to change some tones. Good, I'm going to trap a little air, and by turning my hand here, watch this.
Ooh.
Oh, nice first try. Let's learn that real quick.
That's cool.
Fingers are strong. Over here.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Now come in like this, and the first thing we got to remember is we already know how to hold them. So don't try to hold it differently.
Okay.
And because a lot of people do that, they're like, I better get a better grip, and then we want to make sure those spoons are open. So we're gonna come on in here, and now we're gonna go one finger at a time. Make sure we get them all and land on our leg. 5-stroke roll. Now a little faster. Good. Stronger fingers. And then get your angle. So watch what's happening. So Seth's got it like this, and we want a little more of an angle.
Got it. Okay.
There we go. And then go a little faster. Hear how it's popping right there. Nice. All right, here we go.
You make it look very easy.
I was messing around. Let's do an easy one. Here we go. Nice. And there you go. So we do stuff with, I got trampoline springs, we've got maracas, and just pretty much anything we can get our hands on, but that's the bulk stuff. So I have lots of that stuff. So I get a lot of people playing, and figuring out how to change the tones.
And I was
that's what we talk about.
you were mentioning about tone. I was thinking the incredible tone you're getting out of these plastic spoons and a piece and a tape. Incredible.
Yeah. So we just thought we'd bring, I wasn't sure. Kevin said, hey, just bring out a couple things. I almost brought out the whole recycle machine, but didn't do that. Just was like, well, just bring out a couple goofy things and just have a little bit of fun.
And so far, everything you've made here, people can just do this at home. They can just make these on their own.
Exactly.
Incredible.
And that's the best thing is like, if you do it, if you make it yourself, you get a little more reward.
Yeah.
And so RecycleMan is also a DrumFest is another thing that RecycleMan does.
Yeah.
We're using the real drums. So sometimes I have about 50 tom-toms from real drum sets.
Wow.
And people like Ricardo Sanchez, other people in town, drummers, they donate them to me. People have them sitting in there. Oh, we've had this in our attic or in our garage. I take them. I fix them back up. I figure out how they fit in each other so I can get them all in my car.
Right.
And so I'll go out to like the big Summerfest events at the Heights, the 4th of July stuff, and I'll put them out in a big circle. You may have seen DrumFest.
Yeah.
When I'm out there, a lot of people have seen me. And I don't teach. We just kind of bang on stuff because we're at an event.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't believe how the kids pick up on what I'm doing. We do the echo like we just did, the little echo game.
Yeah.
But without speaking, these kids are watching me and they're playing and they're sweating and then they leave and they go and do something else and they come back and they leave and they come back and they come back. Like that's the coolest thing because I'm there for like 4 hours and the kids just keep coming back for more and they'll bring people with them.
Wow.
And the other thing I do is buckets. So whatever DrumFest does, RecycleMan does too. So RecycleMan uses 5-gallon buckets, but he's got like 150, so I've got more drums than DrumFest, and they stack better. And when you can get real good tone out of buckets, and the kids love to create their own drum sets with the buckets.
Yeah.
So they stack them in cool ways.
Wow.
So when I go to like the BioPark for their garden music, which is so great.
Yeah.
They have like Hillary Smith, Felix y Los Gatos. It's just unbelievable the acts that they have.
Yeah.
Well, the city hires me to go there, and from 6 to 7, when everyone's going in to get their seats.
Yeah.
Either RecycleMan or DrumFest is right there, and people walk by and go, what's this guy doing? And I get some of the kids engaged, so they get to blow off a little steam and have a little fun, be like the opening band almost.
Sure.
And then when the music starts, they've got a little of their yayas out. They got a little banging around.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like to, if I get hired for something, usually I'm not the star of the show, and I know that. So I'm there to fill a need and to fill some time with some kids and to give them an experience.
Yes.
And that's all I try to do.
What a gift.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Yes, piece of cake. All right, one more. Ready?
All right. Beautiful.
See you on the planet sometime.
Love it. All right. Well, see what's next.
Oh, Big Daddy.
All right. Well, I understand we have yet. I think our next guest is ready. Yep. Is that Big Daddy? All right. Let's go check out. I think Big Daddy's gonna be over there. Let's go see what he's up to.
Let's see what he's got.
Let's see what he's up to. All
okay.
right.
Cool.
Thank you. Yeah. What? Where's the rest of this? What do we do? Can someone help me? I don't quite know. Does anyone know what this is or what to do with this? Is it Daddy?
Yo.
What a surprise! Great to
Hey,
see you.
just getting here.
Oh my
Let's
gosh,
go.
what a pleasure. We got to
right.
meet Kevin and RecycleMan, and now here you are in person too. What?
That's right. I just Ubered my way in.
Okay, and I'll reimburse. I appreciate you making the effort to come all the way.
Thank you very much.
So maybe you can tell us what is this? What does it do?
So this is called a Chapman stick, and I'm going to put it onto my belt here to hold on to it so I don't have to hold it with both hands because I'm going to need both hands to play this.
Yeah.
So this is a Chapman stick, and it's a 12-string bass and a guitar combo. It was invented in 1969 by Emmett Chapman. And it's a touch instrument. You just press down to get your bass. guitar, or your bass and your guitar. And so this is an instrument that I use, and people have probably seen me as the one-man big band. I used to play with a bunch of foot pedals and hit all the drums with my feet and do stuff and keep this and have a harmonica strapped on. And but lately I've been doing the looper thing as I've gotten a little older. Due to I'm a percussionist too, so I loop these world beat loops that are big, large loops on percussion, and then I play live Chapman stick over the top. Write a lot of little funny songs, but I'm really into kind of like a West African, reggae, Latin kind of jam. It's usually just improvised.
Love it.
So our bass is tuned in fifths. It comes over in fifths, and the guitar is tuned in fourths. So they kind of move.
And what's that lowest note? What is that lowest note that you have there?
So the lowest I can get here is like a D flat. And so it's never like
you never
the
play
open string. So people are like, what's that string?
Right.
And I'm never plucking it. It's not.
Got it.
It's not going to sound good when I pluck it.
Right.
So would you like to hear it a little bit?
I would love to hear
All
what
right, so
this
here we go.
does.
Let's see what we got here. Everybody's got something. Seth Hoffman's got something. Everybody got something.
Just a little something.
What a great show. Because everybody does have something.
We do.
This is an unbelievable town. There are so many talented people. And everybody seems to have something. We got a lot of makers.
I feel like it sounds like there's like a jazz trio right here.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you. And so, yeah, been playing solo. And I don't usually play it with other people. I kind of just always kept it solo.
Yeah.
And but about last July, started a band called Slim Belly Blues Band.
Yes.
And I'm out in the East Mountains, and I got a couple of my East Mountain buddies out there, Kyle and Ken. And we have a nice little trio with drums and guitar, and then I play bass and guitar on the Chapman stick, and I do harmonica, and I do all the vocals. And it's an original band. And it's called the Blues Band, but it's kind of psychedelic, original jam, a little out there. It's not your usual stuff. It's kind of down traditional. It's like a Howlin' Wolf thing. And then we've got Carly and Doug that come out and sit in on horns.
Sweet.
And it's just like, what a treat that is to have two of the most incredible humans and players that want to play with us in our little blues band. So we just played at the hall last week. It was fantastic, and we've got like 4 shows coming up just next month. And the Slim Belly Blues Band has just been just a revelation to all of a sudden be fronting a band, calling the shots.
And what's that like? Because I know you'd mentioned you've been in many, you played in many arrangements and groups. And as the first time fronting, what's that been like for you?
Right. So starting out as a drummer. Traditionally, as a drummer, I was always back there, pushing and being the guy driving that bus, and so playing the Chapman stick, learning other instruments. It's been like suddenly to be the guy up front and calling the shots, and I've already been in the other roles. It makes it like it's really cool. Like I pay everybody really well, things like that.
Yeah.
I listen to their suggestions.
So all the things you hoped. The band leader would be like, I'm going to be that guy.
Yeah, I sat there on drums and I'd go, And a long time ago, I learned to shut my mouth on the drums, listen to what people were saying, and then I'd go, now listen, right after the A minor, when we get to the bridge, and people would all of a sudden look at me and go, huh? And I realized you had to speak, and they wouldn't treat you like a dumb drummer. And people still do that.
Yeah.
And but so it's really nice to be respected, have a band that's just great guys. You're just your best friends, and that's what I say all the time is like, you can have the best players, but it's about that camaraderie.
Yeah. What does it feel like to be in a room with these people?
Yeah, and I just can't wait to get together and have a rehearsal. And I got my own little studio now for the first time in all these years. I have my own little house outside my house, and I love to just go out there and get lost.
Wow.
And after all these years, it's just been a pleasure to kind of just dip into a lot of different areas. And again, this town is so full of talent.
It's a treasure. It's such a treasure.
We get to see all of these other people and all these other cool bands and the Grateful Dead bands like Let It Grow and The Deal. And there's an Allman Brothers band. There's a Talking Heads band. That's
Pink
just
Floyd.
great stuff. Pink Floyd, Tony O and his greatest band ever. He's just a local treasure that brings together the hottest players all on stage. I mean, he's got Rachel Ross and Chuck Hawley, Doug and Carly, like we've said. I don't want to leave anybody out. I'm going to leave it at that. But it's just a lot of good stuff. But really, the original musical scene is really what I'd like to see more of too. And I really like how we could dip into both areas. It doesn't have to be all or none. And just playing, to me, it's important. If you're playing covers, you're working together, you're working on arrangements, you're working on how to get along, you're working on vocals. I mean, all of that stuff. Then use that in your own music, you know? So you get that going. So I used to say all the time, I'd be like, go ahead and, you're an original band, go ahead and start learning some covers.
Yeah.
Learn more covers to get yourself into a place. You got to have a little bit of a balance. There's so many people that are just all covers, all originals.
Yeah.
I like to dip a toe everywhere, you know? Let's just, do a whole bunch of different things.
And sometimes a nice cover is like a nice bridge. If they don't know you, they say, oh, I know that song. And then when you play your original, then they're maybe going to listen a bit more.
Right, and you got to read the room. Yeah. So if you're prepared to do what, I never sit there and go with a set list. I'll have a set list.
These are options.
These are options, and I'm going to look around and say, no, this room has got a lot of bikers in here, and we're going to change the set list a little bit.
Yeah.
And so the Chapman stick, interestingly, I've had this for almost 25 years, and it's always been a little defected. There's always been a couple little problems with it, where there's a little bleed through on the instrument, and I'm having trouble with the pickup and a couple other things. And so I just recently decided to save. I was saving to buy a new instrument, and I wish I would have known that it was going to be handmade and it was going to take 2 years. Because once I realized I was probably had enough money, then I had to wait for 2 years. But it's custom made, and I'm going to have a new Chapman stick in about a year. And but I'm still keeping this guy here. This guy has really served me well.
So this is the one when I saw you at the Blue Dragon 22 years ago. This is the
This was the one. This is all I had. Yeah, at the Blue Dragon, another wonderful place that Norm used to run.
Yeah.
Norm, I still see Norm.
Beyond. Yeah.
I still see Norm all the time. I talked to him yesterday.
That is a talented fellow as well.
Wonderful friend.
Yeah.
And the Chapman stick, I had never even heard of it.
As most of us probably have. So how did you come across it?
I was walking through Central Park, and there was a drummer, and there was some guy playing this instrument, and I just stopped, and I waited, and I kept seeing people walk up to him. So then I just listened to what they were asking, because they were rude, and they would go up to him and just, hey, what is that? And just interrupt him, because that's what people do. And so I heard what he was telling them. He had to keep telling everybody it's a Chapman stick, it's a Chapman stick. And I saw the drummer roll in his eyes, and they must go through this all of the time.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to bother this guy. So I overheard that it was called a Chapman stick, and I saw what he was doing. And I was like, one day I might get one of those. And so as a drummer, I was always learning some piano, some harmonica. and finally went into some string instruments a little bit later in years, and was getting, pretty decent on guitar and bass. And I said, maybe it's the time to look up that Chapman stick again.
And how many years later?
It was.
From when
I was
you
just going
saw
to say
it
that was like probably 6 years later.
Okay.
And all of a sudden I was like, and I just called the company. That was before we could just look them up online.
Yeah.
There was no websites or anything. And I just spoke to the man himself, asked about the instrument. Couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah.
And so I knew this one was a little defected, and I got a good deal on it.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do on one that.
And then you just looked in the phone
forward.
book under Chapman stick teachers.
No, I never took any lessons.
No,
I
was gonna
don't know
say,
what
so
I was doing.
so how did you, when you first got it, how did you figure out how to make it work?
I came with a book.
Okay.
And so I was really clunky at it for years. I was really trying, and I never could get it to flow really the way I wanted it to. And the interesting thing that happened was the looper. I had always avoided the looper because I always thought it was like cheating, and I was like, I can do all of that, And but I kind of feel like I go about the looper in a different way. You've seen me use the looper, and the looper enables me to have really, really tight percussion, really good stuff, and I can even pull and add stuff to it and make it change. I'll have a loop and I'll add stuff to it, and I could make it sound completely different by pulling that.
You kind
part
of
away.
create like a canvas, or you kind of create a whole atmosphere, and then you can work in that space.
Right, and then I could use the stick, and I like to just play it live over the top. But then sometimes I'll grab the bass line and then use two hands on the. And I can grab loops. I can run this through the looper at the same time.
Yeah.
But I don't do that as much. I like to just use the percussion, and then I have all of these funny little songs I do, and a lot of world beat jams and dance jams, and it really I'll be playing, and there'll be people hanging out, and all of a sudden I'm always seeing the people craning their necks and looking over, and then pointing, and then other people looking over, and then they realize, they go, that's just that guy.
Yeah.
That's that one guy in that suit, man. Look at that guy, and what is he doing, and so I'm always telling people this is called a Chapman stick, and this is what I'm doing, because I know they're waiting to ask.
Yeah.
And so
you should have a sign that says, "This is a Chapman
stick," just like
sign.
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I was saying I write a lot of silly songs, and so one of the first songs I ever wrote when I got the stick was I was reading the newspaper, and I saw a headline, and it said soaking beans overnight, old wives' tale. And I was like, is this a typo? What are they even saying? And it was like an Ann Landers thing. And so I started reading it, and they were saying, oh, you don't soak your beans overnight. Oh, you just do this, you do that. And believe me, I've played this song a lot, and I've gotten a lot of guff from this song. Because I come out, and they were like, hey, who's this gringo from New York telling us how to cook beans, And but so I love beans, and when these beans are like utility beans. They're beans that you can just have in the refrigerator, keep them in fresh water, use them for whatever. But if you're doing a real bean thing, the whole thing we found out through this article was when you cook the beans, when you add salt, it makes the beans cook it takes so much longer to cook them. So that's why you would soak them. So I ran through all of these instructions, and I literally lifted every line right out of the Ann Landers thing, and it's called Bean Cooking 101. And you got a harmonica on you?
Oh.
There we go. Okay, good. So Seth and I are we're just finish off a little here. We'll do a little Ann Landers song.
All right.
If
only whoever wrote that knew this was gonna be years later performed.
They would be like probably thrilled.
Yes.
All right, here we go. You come right in.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Don't soak your beans overnight. Don't soak your beans overnight. Just put them in the water and they'll come out all right. It's an old wife tale. Don't soak them overnight. Come on. Get a pot of water, bring 'em to a boil. Add a bunch of beans, bring 'em back to a boil. Now turn down low so your beans don't spoil. Keep the lid half on and don't let 'em boil. Skim the foam, skim the foam. Keep your beans underwater and skim that foam, yeah. Take a bite of bean, you can tell when it's done. Take a bite of bean, you can tell when it's done. Now it takes a couple hours, even longer for some. If your bean's too hard, then your beans ain't done. Hey! Take another one. Don't salt your beans till after they're cooked. Don't salt them till after they're cooked. Now they do need salt, but don't overlook that they get all hard if you salt them before they're cooked. Don't overcook them because they get all soft. Don't overcook them because they get all soft. They get all mushy, their skins fall off. Yeah, don't overcook them because they get all soft. I said, don't overcook them because they get all soft.
Wow. Thank you very much. What a pleasure. Daddy and his one-man blues band and Slim Belly Blues Band. Check them out. It's been a joy and an honor. Please pass along to Kevin Kinane and to RecycleMan. Please let them know that it's just been an honor. But, my God.
Let's get some lunch. Let's get some beans.
Let's do it. Lunch and
We're
beans.
gonna go get some
and we'll cook
beans.
them. And we'll all the best. Thank you for being with us on Everybody's Got Something. And just know you got something too. Check these guys out. The joy of living our passion, sharing the music, sharing the goodness. It's all there for you.
Everybody's got something.
That's right.
Everybody's got something that nobody else has got. Everybody, you're the only one. And everybody's got something that nobody else has got. Everybody, you're the only one. Everybody got something that's just your style. Everybody got something that makes you smile. Everybody got something that makes you laugh. Everybody got something you want but don't have. And oh, la 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 la, cha cha cha. Everybody got something.